In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up an uber successful search campaign on Google for you as a contractor or construction business. I've been doing this for 14 years, working with all different types of construction companies all around the world and all different types of contractors, helping them and optimizing their Google search campaigns to provide qualified and cheap leads that they can use to grow their business. In preparation for this video, I want to have a look at all the other YouTube videos that are very similar to this, because I didn't want to produce one that was, just a copy and paste of someone else's. I went through construction, I went through contractors, I went through real estate, I went through local business, like just general. I went through e-commerce, I know which is not related, but I still do a lot of work in e-commerce. And most were decent, but they failed to get across the subtleties and nuances of what it takes to actually be in the top 5%, in my opinion, of the Google search campaigns for contractors and construction companies. So what I'm going to do in this video is go through everything step by step, showing you the subtleties that you need to know to put you in that top 5%, but also showing you how to structure everything, the good keywords, how to write good ads, etc., that gives you the phone calls, the form leads that are qualified, that are not incredibly expensive, that allows you or your sales teams to go out and sell, measure and quote, so on and so forth. So with that being said, let's jump over to my computer and we'll get into today's tutorial. Okay guys, here we are ready to get started with our Google search tutorial for you as a contractor or construction company. Now, one of the quickest ways to grow any contracting business or construction business is to simply subscribe to my channel. I know that's a bit of a joke, but I produce incredibly thorough content that is specific to you as a contractor or construction company, showing you how to improve your marketing, how to improve your sales, get more qualified leads at a cheaper cost. And it's a no-brainer. Also, like the video, helps me within the YouTube search rankings. I'd appreciate it if you don't do it. You don't do it. With that being said, let's just jump straight in. Now, first and foremost, I'm not going to go through the initial sign-up process for Google Ads. It's a little bit redundant, and this video is going to be on the longer side because I am going to dig in deep and show you what's been working for my clients in recent times and what I've learned over the last 14 years in multiple different contracting and construction industries across many different countries. So with any redundant information, I'm going to cut out. Now, let's just jump straight in. Now, to first get started, we want to create a new campaign. Now, when we come in here, we're selecting an objective. Now, most people will select leads or website traffic. Another option is create a campaign without goals guidance. Now, there are some other options, in my opinion, not applicable to you as a contractor or construction company. Now, the problem here, if we select leads and website traffic and you have no prior history with Google Ads, Google is working on their machine learning algorithms in order to help self-optimize your campaigns. So if you mess this up by not having conversion tracking, it is like flying blind in a 747. You are going to hit something, crash something. It's going to be an absolute disaster. And I've seen it time and time again. It is important to have phone call tracking set up. I'm not going to cover it in this video. And if you want, I can create another video in order to tackle phone call tracking, but it's free. Google has its own capabilities for phone call tracking. There are other services. I'm not affiliated with these guys, but they do a great job, and it's CallRail. And they give you further analytics, which I do find useful, working with clients, either old or new clients. And it's just helpful to know when the phone is ringing, if it's been answered, how long call durations is, and geography, and CallRail offer a whole multitude of different things like that. It's not overly expensive for the value that you get back, in my opinion. Furthermore, Google does this for free. It's very simple. Your developer can implement it in less than 5 minutes. Secondly, it's forms. So if you've got a contact form on a landing page or on your website, you need to track if people are filling it out, because when it comes down to optimization, what keyword drove you the conversions? What ad drove you the conversions? And there's many other optimization points within your Google search campaigns. But for me personally, I have a 322-point checklist for management and optimization and build of Google search campaigns for contractors and construction companies. I need to know what elements of the campaign are producing conversions or whatnot. Otherwise, that plane's going to nosedive and it's going to be an absolute catastrophe. I've seen it time and time again. So with that said, because we have no initial data to run with, I'm going to create a campaign without goals guidance. Next, I'm going to select the search campaign. I'm going to select phone calls and website visits. Now, for the nature of this video, I've just randomly picked a business in Houston that does bathroom remodeling. I have no affiliation with these guys, so forgive me if anyone from this company ever watches this video. I'm just using this purely for detailed purposes. So what I'm going to do is just put in the phone number here, and then I'm just going to grab the URL, and just like you would for your business, and we click continue. Now here we come to the first issue of Google search campaigns. Now I audit anywhere from about 3 to 8 Google search campaigns for contractors and construction companies per week. And I see the first big problem is naming convention. Anyone worth their salt in this game will be running many different types of campaigns because there's different tactics and strategies and different campaign types. So it's about squeezing as much lemon out of the lemon, or lemon juice out of the lemon, as possible, getting everything you can out of everything you've got. Now, everyone's got access to Google Ads. So what I'm trying to say here is that you've got multiple campaigns, name them properly so you understand them quickly. So you can quickly know that this campaign's about this and it performs in this way. It's doing well, it's not doing well. It's just easy to manage things in the longer term. For instance, I like the naming convention of the service. Now, these guys, I'm not sure if they do anything other than bathrooms, but some people do kitchens and bathrooms. So this would be the bathrooms of the service, the network. So we're on the search network, and you'll understand what I mean by that in literally a few moments. Manual CPC, I'm going to talk about bidding strategies because if you get it right, they help you a lot. If you get it wrong, the plane's going to start tilting down and you're heading towards the ground and it's not nice. And the last one is the geography. Now, when it comes to networks, as I just spoke about, Google have an affiliation with a whole different host of type of search networks. We don't want to be a part of them initially. So unclick include Google search partners. So we don't want to be part of Yahoo. We don't want to be part of Ask Jeeves. If you're here in Australia, it's Gumtree, and there's many other sites. We don't want to be associated with them. I want an isolated environment where I can gauge how this client's going to do with a good structure just on the Google search network. I can add this at a later date once I'm looking for scale, but from the initial outset, I need to know everything's working within this set environment. Now, obviously, this goes through the display network. The display network is a massive network. You can get tons of traffic really cheaply, which sounds, too good to be true, and that's because it is. The psychology of the network is much different to search. The targeting is much different. It's a bit of a disaster if you do not know what you're doing. You need unique offers. It's a whole like new beast, not new, but it's a whole beast separate to Google search. So we do not want this influencing the Google search network, and it will eat up budget like an absolute fiend. So definitely untick the display network. Coming down, Google would love you to spend all your money all around the world because they'll eat up every cent that you're willing to spend very, very happily. Now, we don't want to do that. We want to enter a location, and we want to click in advanced search. Now, these guys are in Houston, so if we simply just type in Houston, we can target the Houston area. Now, the other thing that we can do, we've got little areas such as Sugar Land and Dayton, etc., that we can target. So if we wanted just to target Sugar Land, we can do that, which is really, really nice. Another element that you can do is zip codes. So I'm going to use 90210. It's an old TV show, dating, showing my age. I've been doing this for ages, and for foreigners, it's probably the easiest zip code for people to remember. So if we target this, it shows us just the zip code area. Obviously, we're in California, so it's just used for illustration purposes, but you get the idea. Now, the reason why this is important, and this is where other tutorials haven't touched upon, is that, and I'm going to try and say this in the most politically correct way, which is going to be a little bit delicate, is that some of my clients do not want to work with, or not that they don't want to work with, but their ideal prospect is located in some areas, but not others. So they might be on the higher end of the market, and there's some zip codes where the average income is higher. So they're more likely to afford that type of service. And some are on the other end of the spectrum. So it's you probably get what I'm hinting at there. In this day and age, it's a bit awkward to talk about. It's much better behind closed doors where you can just be a bit more black and white about it. But it's, yeah, that's the nature of the beast. And this is where like geographical targeting is really important, targeting down to the zip code or excluding the zip code. So we could say that we want to exclude, sorry, not, you don't type in exclude, but we want to exclude a specific area. Now we could exclude this and it becomes in red. We can do states, we can do areas, we can do cities, and so on and so forth. So it just shows you the capabilities of Google Ads and its geography targeting. Now I've just left Houston targeted by itself, and one of the biggest common mistakes that I see with tons of new clients, almost on a weekly basis, I see this one, is the wrong location option selected. So presence or interest, right? People regularly in, or who have shown interest in your targeted location. Now Google recommends this, and they do that because they want more money. So it is not the right option. You want this middle option, people in or regularly in your targeted locations. You want people living in. It improves the quality of traffic coming in, improves the quality of leads, which makes your life tons better because you're not having to deal with low qualified leads, dedicating time and resources to them. You remove that pain in the backside. Now, scrolling down, languages, unless I work with some people where the language is, they're dealing with they're in the United States, for instance, and they work with people in the Chinese community. So they write their ads in a way that I say in Mandarin or Cantonese, etc. And we show the ads in that sense. So we're targeting those languages here. Same as Spanish as well. Obviously, there's large amounts of large populations of Spanish speakers in the United States, so you can do that as well, right? Spanish ads target Spanish speakers, etc., for your locations. But by and large, sticking to English. Now, coming down to audience segments. Now, I like to click anything, and you can go through anything that's relevant to you. This is a bit of a mess now, because later down in the optimization phase, you can see what groups of people, so these are all different types of groups of people, convert well. So you can manage your bids based upon the performance of the different types of groups. So it becomes a bit like a Venn diagram. So when you have a couple of overlaps, you want the people in the intersection and you want to bid more on them because they're most likely to convert and they're very good prospects. This allows you to do this in one facet. So Google search is very much around capital allocation. Spend as much of your budget to the good areas of your campaign and limit your budget to the bad areas or cut it off. It's a very, very simple process, albeit I use a 322-point checklist for build, optimization, and management for campaigns in construction and contracting. It's still about trying to allocate as much of the budget to the best areas as possible, and it's always changing. So it's interesting. Definitely want to keep this as observational, and we come down to budget. Now, when we come to budget, in my opinion, you do not want to be spending less than $2,000 per month. So it comes down to the point of you're generally in a slightly more expensive industry, being in construction or contracting, because your projects are quite large. They range on the lower end, typically with my clients on the $5,000 to $10,000 mark, and then they quickly get to 6 and 7 figures. So when you're talking like that, you're not going to be paying cents per click. So if you're paying a couple of dollars per click and you've got a budget of $20 per day, you're only going to get a handful of visitors per day. It's going to be very, very hard to optimize and get enough data in. $2,000 for a small geographical area is still on the real small end, don't get me wrong, but it allows you to get your toe in the water and to get things moving. Now, when it comes to bid management or the bidding choice, now this is where it gets a tiny bit complicated because you've got a couple of different options and you can select a couple of different bidding strategies. And just clicking around, just giving you a sense of what's going to happen here is that you have a couple of different options. Now, maximize clicks. So if you're brand new and starting off, maximize clicks or manual CPC. That's what you want to run with. Maximize clicks, Google will squeeze as many visitors out as the targeting options that you give them as possible. Sounds great, but there are some caveats to it. If you have a poor structure, which I'm going to talk to you about, you will absolutely have a terrible time. You won't get any qualified leads. Well, you may get qualified leads, but they'll be few and far between, and your costs will be in line with your budget, but your cost per lead will be pretty poor. Whereas manual CPC, you have full control. Now, there's pros and cons. If you're active in your management, stick with manual CPC to start with. If you're not going to be active, shame on you, because if you want to be in that top 5%, you've got to be actively managing this. This is the thing that brings money in. So like this is there's only two things that bring money into any business with construction or contracting, and any business. That's innovation and that's marketing and sales. That's it. Only two functions. Doing actual work doesn't bring any additional money in. It just allows you to complete the contract legally, but also the social contract. I've given you this, you give me that. But once that the contract's been signed, that you're not getting any more money out of that, typically speaking. So stick with manual CPC generally, and this can move around. Once you've got approximately 30 to 50 conversions, ideally closer to 50 conversions in this campaign, move to maximize conversions. So you'll do far better. You'll just do a great deal better. It allows the conversion tracking that you set up to take over and for Google to self-optimize. So moving on to show more options. This is around ad rotation. Do not optimize or optimize for best performing ads. Optimize for best performing ads. Google's going to be moving into responsive search ads, and there's just many combinations. You want the best combination to be showing. So, and you should be having 2 RSAs or responsive search ads per ad group. If you're not following, don't worry. I'll get to that in just a few moments in a visual sense, so you understand the whole structure portion of account creation. But optimize for this. For best performing ads. Moving through to extensions. Now, this is really important. Site link extensions, adding them. So if we have a look at these guys and let's see what they do, services. So we have, they should be using site links for bathtub remodel, custom vanities, shower remodel, bathtub to conversion. So we'll set one up. So if we wanted to, we'll say walk-in tub installation. So we'll grab the URL, and we'd come to site link extensions, and we would say, we'll just paste in the URL so I know exactly what we're doing. So we're saying walk-in tub installation. So we'd just say walk-in tub installation, and we would write a description about walk-in tub installations. And then what that does, it can appear alongside your ad, or technically just underneath it. And it allows you to get more real estate or funnel people into the most desired areas of your website the most quickly. And just to give you a quick idea of site link extensions, it's these links just down here that we see highlighted in red. So tons more real estate, click-through rates go up, cost per clicks go down, you get more qualified leads at a cheaper cost, everyone's happy. Now, you want to be adding call-out extensions. You want to add as many extensions as you possibly can, and there's a couple of others. You also want to be adding, you can use lead form extensions as well, which is important. And and also lost my train of thought there, but also structured snippets are really important as well. There's also location extensions, which work as well. So once you've set up your Google My Business page and connected, you get that option as well, which is really, really powerful. And one of the things that no one else talks about within their tutorials that you can set up, it allows you to do Google My Business listings where that show up generally at the top of the search results when you make a geographically specific search query with a service. Allows you to show up there, which is really, really nice. So we're going to click Save and Continue. Okay, so here we come down to ad groups. Now, this is where we're starting to get into the structure of campaigns. Really, really important stuff here. If you get this wrong, your performance will be really terrible. There's no kind way to say it will be garbage. Now, I want to talk through structure because it is really important. So I've made this image for you to get an idea of what happens. So at the top, we've got account, and then under the account, we have campaigns. Now, campaigns are controlled by ad groups. Ad groups are where ads are housed and keywords are housed, and also landing pages. So they're little groups. Now, if we had bathroom remodeling here, now we could have bathroom remodeling and bathroom renovation. Now, they would be 2 different types of ad groups for me. The reason is that Google, I can write better and more specific ads for bathroom renovation then I can also do the same for bathroom remodeling. So probably not the smoothest way to say that, but for my bathroom renovation ad group, I want my ads to mention the phrase bathroom renovation. And the same goes for bathroom remodeling. I want my ads to say bathroom remodeling. It gets me an improved quality score, lowers my cost per click. I get cheaper leads. That's why you want to do this. It also allows you to meet the psychological intent of the visitor. Now, I see big problems with this and not too many people talking about it. Cost per clicks are going to continue to rise. If you do not set your structure up, it will be terrible and you will find it very hard to compete. You will not be in that top 5%. So coming back here, we're going to create a bathroom remodeling ad group. So here we have bathroom remodeling, and we have our landing page. Now, ideally, you want to send them to the best landing page that you have, or the most applicable page that you have. So if this was, they don't really have a bathroom remodeling type of page, so to speak. So we're going to go with bathtub remodel. Probably picked the wrong business to use as my as my basis of my tutorial, but it I suppose it some way it teaches the principle a bit better off. So we would add our URL here and would update the keywords. Yes, replace, and we'll update here. Now, this is good for idea generation. There's two problems with this actually. So bathroom remodeling, we're not getting the bathroom remodeling types of keywords that we want. So hypothetically, this is going to a bathroom remodeling page, and we would say like bathroom you don't have to capitalize them. It makes no difference. So as we have it here, we have bathroom remodeling Houston, which seems fine. This is a catastrophe as well. I know I'm speaking about many catastrophes and problems and stuff, but this is the biggest problem that can cause failure. It can cause the most failure, and it's because people don't understand what this means down here. Keyword match type, broad match, phrase match, and exact match. Now, to give you an idea what these mean and the implication, I've got this other little image for you to make it really easy to comprehend. So here I'm using the analogy, the keyword lawn mowing service. Now, as it is written here, this would be deemed as broad match because there's no qualifiers around the phrase. So we have many different possibilities now that your keyword can show for. So anything relating to the word lawn, mowing, or service, your ad can show for. So hopefully that is starting to show like just how broad and untargeted this is. So for instance, the example that Google gives is lawn, aeration, prices. Not really all that applicable to lawn mowing service. Next, we move to phrase match. Now, phrase match is where quotation marks at the start of the phrase and at the end of the phrase. I say phrase and not word. Now, this gets you, it's changed recently, but it gets you closer to the exact phrase that you've put up here. So we've got lawn mowing services near me, hire company, landscaping services. Now, Google's being quite, I've just modeled the Google's examples here, but Google are being very optimistic, let's say, about how well the phrase match is closely related to the phrase that you would like to show your ads for. And this is really important to understand that, because you're going to get some really unusual kind of phrases that are loosely relatable. Here you're going to get some things that are highly unrelatable. And then we move to exact match where you get things that are quite relatable, and that's what we want, or to certainly start off with. Now, this is where you get squared brackets at the start of the phrase and at the end of the phrase. And again, they're being very optimistic. Exact phrase isn't exact, but it gives you quite close control. With new accounts, you want to start with exact match, and then you can build out to phrase match. Now, when it comes to keywords, as I mentioned, we want to be using square brackets, and it's really important that you do this. Now, there's also an added video to this. If you check out my YouTube channel, I talk about negative keywords and using the search term report. Really important, because Google will show you for phrases that you do not want to be shown with, and it's really important that you understand that, because you need to add them as negatives. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out those videos on my YouTube channel. So we can add as many keyword phrases here as we want, but we want them all very tightly related and themed to bathroom remodeling. So as I mentioned, bathroom renovation would be another ad group which we would create, and we would call this the bathroom renovation ad group, and we would go through the same process. It all comes down to, I can write ads more specific to the phrase bathroom remodeling in the bathroom remodeling ad group and bathroom renovation in the bathroom renovation ad group. So hopefully that gets you the idea of how to set these up. So I've gone ahead and added another ad group, just a real basic one, purely just so you can see the structure at the end with 2 different ad groups. You'd have multiple different ad groups and multiple campaigns for that matter in a big, well built out account. But it'll just give you an idea. So just bathroom renovation, Houston, nothing overly complicated here. So next we want to click Save and Continue. So here we're creating the ads. Now, ad creation is a complicated beast in and of itself because we're moving to these responsive search ads where there's multiple different headlines and Google will match them in multiple different combinations in order to try and get you the best result. Now, and we can do the same with descriptions as well. Now, I've got a 2-part series on how to write better ads. And as I mentioned at the start of this, there's redundant parts to this video that are better explained. And this is one of them. The ad creation, because I go through examples, I break down examples and I recreate them and I show you how to write them, etc. in the 2 videos. And I'll have a link to that video in the description below. But do not tackle the writing of your ads as just this basic thing that's elementary and you don't have to pay too much attention to it. If you do that, you'll get a low performance. Your CTRs will be lower, your quality scores will be lower, your cost per clicks will be higher, the amount you're paying per visitor will be higher, and the amount of leads you get will be lower, and the cost that you do pay per lead will be higher. It's not a nice recipe. So definitely pay attention to how to write better ads. And as I mentioned, visit those 2 other videos in the description section below, and you'll be well on your way to writing better ads. For the nature of this tutorial, I'm just going to leave this as it is. To build upon this though, just before I do, we do jump to the next section. Now, there are some strategies and some tactics that do improve results that, so you can have dynamic keyword insertion. So what that'll do, it'll allow you to take the phrase that the person's typed in their search query and have that in your ad, which means that your ad can be super relevant to what the searcher is searching, which can improve CTR, lower cost per clicks, etc. And there's another one that is really interesting, is that you can dynamically pull in the zip code of the person. So like you could say bathroom remodelers 90210 kind of thing, or the zip code of an area that you service, but the search is also in that area. It can be really, really nice. I'm seeing improved click-through rates with it. I'm seeing reduced CPCs, better cost per leads, etc. So definitely, if you want a tutorial on how to create those types of ads, drop a comment in the comment section below and I can make a tutorial for you. But there is a whole host of top level tactics and strategies in order to get more from your ads. But yeah, don't take this too lightly, this section. So here we're creating the ad for the bathroom remodeling, and then we've got the ad for the bathroom renovation. And this is where you would write your ads essentially. It's important to note that you want 2 RSAs per ad group so you can test a whole range of different possibilities of headlines and descriptions. And you can theme them slightly different. So one could be an RSA around guarantees. One could be around like before and afters and transformations. Another one could be around a special offer that you have, so on and so forth. So that's writing multiple ad headlines for guarantees, multiple ads around possibly social proof, and just having them the RSAs themed, or the responsive search ads themed, because you might be thinking, well, why don't I just chuck everything in the one RSA and just let Google sort it out? That can work, but I think that when you theme them, because of the intent of you knowing what you want to get from this one RSA, you write better ads. So that's been my experience over more than RSAs haven't been around for a decade, but when you've got that specific goal, your mind will try and achieve it in a sense. So you'll be more focused. So next, what we want to do is press save and continue. So what we will do now is press publish, and we'll have this new campaign up and running. Now, it's important that the new campaign will take usually less than a day. In my experience, I've done tons of these. They've got 1 to 2 days, and then your ads will start to be shown to customers. So here we've got at the campaign level now, we've got our campaign, we've got the naming convention correct. We come in, we've got the ad group level. So very much like the diagram that I showed earlier. And now we've got the keywords, and we can have a look at the pages that we're sent to with landing pages. And we've got the ad extensions that we also made at the ad level. And we can also see the ads. So extensions here and ads here. Now, when it comes to management, now the first and foremost is when you've been running you want to do this daily first and foremost, and that's checking the Google search term report. So that's coming in here. So at this stage, I just want to come back to the campaign level, and we want to go to search keywords, but we want to go to search terms. This will start to be filled up. This report here will show you specifically the phrases that people are typing in order to trigger your ads. And you will see some really unusual phrases in here, and this is where you need to add them as negative keywords. Now, when this report is filled up, you can click them and it'll pop up and say add as negative, or you can add negatives right here, right now kind of thing. You can add them at the campaign level and the ad group level. Now, it's important that you do this almost every day at the start. Ideally, every day for the first 4 days, and then every second day for the next 7 to 10 days, and then it becomes loosely a weekly situation. And the same thing happens when you move to phrase match. Now, we spoke about the match types. When you move to phrase match, again, you're going to get some really unrelated phrases showing up. So you definitely want to be looking at this search term report. Because we're using manual bidding, we want to have a look at the different devices and how they're performing. So we can change, like if computers are doing well, mobile phones are doing well, we can make bid adjustments, which is really cool and important. The other thing about negative keywords that I should have mentioned just a moment ago is that at the ad group level, if we add them, I want to say at the ad group level, I want to select bathroom remodeling, and I don't want renovation phrases to show for the remodeling ad group, because I've got better ads for renovation-based keywords in my renovation ad group, and vice versa. I would add remodeling as a negative to the renovation ad group. This just allows you to have overall better performance. That is the real reason why. And it's an important element of account setup and structure that a lot of people do get wrong. So next, what I want to talk about, and this is, so I'm just going to jump back to the all campaigns tab because it's loosely unrelated, is the different types of campaigns that you can use and that I'm using with my clients to do fantastically well. This is a basic search campaign, and I said start off with exact match, but once that's working well, move to phrase match, so changing some of the keywords to phrase match, and that will give you more scale and scope and give you a wider net to cast your services to still targeted prospects, getting you more qualified leads at still a really good cost. Now, with contracting and construction, people take generally a good amount of time to make a decision. This is where I'm not going to go through this, and this is not a tutorial, but an RLSA campaign. So retargeting, so those ads that follow you around. So if you went to an airline or an e-commerce store and then you saw ads for the next couple of days show around, it's similar to this, but slightly different. Now, hypothetically speaking, someone comes to your website, they type in your service plus location. Let's say it's bathroom remodeling Houston, for instance. Now, they've got a budget of 15 to 30,000 and they're a prime target for you, but they haven't made a decision yet. So husband and wife haven't had the conversation. They leave, they haven't become a lead, and they spend another 3 weeks either sourcing financing or just deciding about the style of bathroom that they want or kitchen that they want or whatever service that you offer. Then they make another search, but they've forgotten who you are at this time because they've got no real reason to know who you are or remember who you are. So they make the same search or a very similar search. Bathroom remodelers Houston, slightly different, but still relevant. Where would you like to show? Really high this time. So an RLSA, so it's retargeting for search, essentially. It allows you to bid more for people that you've already interacted with. So we've all heard the adage that it takes XYZ amount of touch points before someone becomes a conversion. There's some truth to that and there's some BS to that. But in this instance, it's very much truth because it's based upon the behavior of the person. So this is another style of campaign that works wonderfully well for my clients. It's cheap. It doesn't need a large monthly budget, but it yields fantastic results. Another style of campaign, and as I go through these, don't forget to mention in the comment section below if you'd like a tutorial on any of these styles of campaigns. The next one is YouTube. YouTube is probably the cheapest source of traffic right now, yet still highly targeted. Usually those two things don't come hand in hand, as I mentioned with the display network. Now, YouTube is part of, in some way, I suppose, the display network, but it allows you to target people in many different ways. They're still highly targeted. It's still really cheap traffic. The barrier to entry is a video. Now, everyone rolls their eyes and goes, oh, 4-letter word, I have to create a video. Yes, but videos can be much easier to create than you think. And I have a video, like a breakdown section in my YouTube channel. If you go to the playlist, and I break down different styles of websites, ads, and recently I went through a roofing ad that's had 27 million views when I made the video. And it was very simple, mostly stock photography, no real videography being shot. There's no moving people or anything like this. And it just had a voice overlay. And I do a breakdown of that video of why that company has been able to spend over $1.2 million on that ad. Now, it can be very, very simple. Now, the good thing to that is that those types of video ads also translate into Facebook ads generally. So it's a wonderful network to be a part of, YouTube. It works well with retargeting. So if someone comes to your website, didn't become a lead, you can follow them up on YouTube. It doesn't matter what YouTube video that they're looking for either, which is fantastic. So YouTube's this beast that most people do not know how to handle. They think it's more difficult than it is, and it has tremendous power to provide leads at an incredibly good cost, and it's not complicated. People just overcomplicate it. Next is just your retargeting campaign. So like using the display to retarget people who visited your website but didn't become a lead. Again, it becomes down to that touch point thing. If people haven't got the finances, they haven't spoken to the spouse, they're waiting to save up a bit more money, they're still researching ideas. There's a whole host of reasons why people put these projects off. And you don't want to lose touch with these people. So having a really good retargeting campaign for contractors and construction companies is incredibly important. Again, it's super low budget, really high yield. So those are just some of the campaigns that I run with my clients. There's many considerations around budgets and so on and so forth. With that said, I want to wrap things up really quickly by saying that if you want this all done for you and to get into that top 5% or top 1% in your geographic area for the services that you offer, feel free to reach out to me and I can have a conversation with you. That's all it is around your marketing. It doesn't even lead to any salesmanship in any way, shape, or form. It's about what I can offer you in that one conversation, which is no cost, in order to help you improve your marketing. All you have to do in order to have that conversation is go to brenthamel.com. Once you're here, just scroll down, click this button, fill out the form, and you and I will schedule a time in order to chat about that. It's completely free. As I mentioned, there's no snake oil salesman tactics that happen, and you'll be much better off for it. With that said, don't forget to subscribe if you want more tutorials just like this. If you've got any topics that you'd like me to discuss, put it down in the comment section below. Please like the video, as it helps much more than you think with the rankings in YouTube. And that being said, enjoy crushing the day in and day out of your business. Take care.